Everyone, welcome back to the AI Insights podcast. I'm your host, Mazor, Kario, product design and AI expert, and the creator of the Online Leaders program, Unlocking the Power of Generative AI. And today we're discussing how to effectively manage the risk associated with AI. Joining us is Dr. Limor Ziv, the founder and CEO of Humane AI, a cutting-edge technology company dedicated to promoting responsible AI practices. Hi, Limor. How are you?
Hi,
Great to see you.
Good morning.
I'm so happy to see you, and it's an honor to have you here. And your expertise is in AI, risk management, and ethical deployment, and you assist organizations in navigating the complex landscape of AI implementation, regulatory compliance. And I'm so happy that you're here with me.
Thanks for inviting me.
Sure, I'm so happy that you're here. And now we can dive in. Why do you think that the risk in AI is so important today?
Well, it's critical because we're at a pivotal moment in AI development. These systems are becoming increasingly powerful and pervasive in our daily lives, from healthcare to finance to higher education, is making decisions that profoundly impact our lives. And the risking isn't just about preventing worst case scenarios. It's about building AI that people can trust and that genuinely benefits society. AI is becoming more and more integral into our lives and in various industries, and it offers us tremendous benefits, but it also presents significant risks like privacy violations, like biases, and many unintended consequences. So addressing these risks is crucial to protect users, to build trust, and to ensure that AI systems contribute positively to every one of us and to society as well.
Yeah. Could you give us a few examples of what are the risks we're talking, like worst case scenarios, what could happen?
That's an excellent question, and it's one that's at the heart of what we do at Humane AI. The risks associated with AI systems are interconnected, and they span from immediate, tangible concerns to long-term, potentially even existential issues, some would say even. And we can start with one of the most pressing and widely discussed risks, which is bias and fairness. AI systems, particularly those used in decision-making processes, can perpetuate and even amplify existing societal biases. We've seen this play out in areas like hiring, like criminal justice systems, and even loan approval, for example. For instance, there was a case where an AI-driven recruitment tool showed bias against women because it was trained on historical data that reflected past discriminatory practices. So this is one thing, and this leads us also to another significant risk. This is the lack of the risk of the lack of transparency and explainability, or what we call the black box problem. It's not a new problem, but many AI systems, especially deep learning models, operate in ways that are difficult for even the developers that made those systems to fully explain and to fully understand. This becomes particularly concerning when these systems are making important decisions that affect our lives.
Yeah. But when I think about, like you're giving me an example of a biased system for hiring, for example. So currently you have someone who's responsible for recruiting and hiring new employees, and they're biased too. I would say like the AI is biased as people. And people are biased, and the data that they generate is biased and consumed by AI. This data is consumed by AI, and it's biased. So how is it different than taking someone that is, a biased human?
Yeah, first of all, when human is operating, you're right, we're also biased. Our mind is biased, and we have all sorts of heuristics and we focus on certain things and not others. But when we're talking about technology that is biased, we are lacking the human judgment in the process. And also the gap between technology and humans are becoming larger, and it's difficult. When we don't understand technology, then it becomes harder for us to manage it and to reduce the potential harm that this technology might bring to our lives. I wanted to address two more risks that might be that is important. Privacy is a major concern as well. AI systems often require vast amount of data to function effectively, and this is important questions about how this data is collected, how this data is stored, and how it's being used, and also security vulnerabilities. When we talk about more and more adapting more and more AI tools, AI systems become so integral into our infrastructure. So they also become targets for cyber attacks. So a compromised AI system could lead to data breaches, to manipulation of critical systems, and even physical harm in cases where AI controls things like medical devices, for example, or autonomous vehicles, for example.
Yeah. But when we're thinking about privacy, I think the big difference is we know about the GDPR for privacy of data, and it's like widely used. The difference here is the communication between the machines and the AI, because you're thinking together with this system, with this algorithm, and they learn how you think, and they get into a deeper understanding of your processes of thought and really what do you need from them. And therefore, I think that just thinking about a company that has a few of their most important employees working with these systems, it's more than just compromising the data of your users. It's compromising the understanding of your strategic decisions, of what you're interested in the company, and what exactly is needed to be done in order to continue for a successful, decision in the company, so forth. So it's much deeper than just data.
That's right. I absolutely agree. And also, it's important to remember that when a company utilizes AI tools, it often involves combination of generative AI and also another AI systems. And this combination can make managing these systems challenging because it becomes difficult to identify and mitigate those risks. This complexity is particularly dangerous in high-risk industries or high-risk fields, let's say, such as finance or healthcare, for example. So not understanding how these systems work and lacking the ability to manage their risk can lead to significant threats.
Yeah.
And I wanted also to introduce you I just came across data from a research that was done in Australia. And this research surveyed more than 400 executive decision makers responsible for AI development. And they revealed a worrying action gap. And they found that while 82% of respondents believed they're taking best practices approach to AI, only 24% actually we're taking deliberate actions to ensure that AI systems are developed responsibly. So there is really a big gap between what you think you're doing and what you're actually doing.
Yeah. When you're thinking about this gap, I think what comes to my mind is two things. First, what does it mean responsible? So are we talking bias? Are we talking security? Are we talking about securing the data and privacy? So exactly what that means, I guess that it's divided into two few practices. That's one thing. The second thing that comes to my mind, that we don't have yet all the tools that could monitor and manage these either third party or open source models, whatever. You don't have any tools right now to manage it efficiently. And therefore, because of these, first the blurry definition and the lack of tools, I guess that they're in the middle of decision making on that aspect.
Yeah. I would agree on that.
Yeah. Another thing that comes to my mind is the fact that it's trying to measure the risk. What is the risk? So it's very, in general, the risk in cybersecurity, risk in financial compromise of your, or your assets, whatever. I think it's very hard to measure risk when you don't have enough data on the risk. And I think we're just in the beginning of this era of companies being either compromised in attacks, in the data, in their branding that could be compromised by AI, and any kind of incident, so forth?
Yeah, I think first of all, companies should understand, also individuals, users should understand that AI can create risks. It gives us great opportunities, and it's strengthening our creativity and many others great things. But I think that the first stage is to realize that it also gives us it also creates big risks that we should acknowledge at first stage.
Yeah. And another thing that comes to my mind is I think that right now, most companies would think about AI as part of a cloud solution, and they sometimes really trust the cloud providers to do some of the mitigation here in some cases, especially, like in privacy or maybe in security and such.
Yeah, but the responsibility, lies also on the company that, not only on the vendors, but also on the company. It depends, again, like we talked before, it depends on which industry this company works in, etc. But anyway, I believe in a proactive approach. Even companies that don't use technology tools, they can start by conducting a thorough risk assessment. They can establish a governance framework and perform audits. Even if they're not using any tools, technological tools, they can also educate their employees about AI risks. That's very important, and communicate those.
Yeah. So what would be the first practical steps that companies to, to identify and assess AI risk during development or deployment of these products?
So first of all, I would say they can start with a risk assessment. And also, as I said, establishing governance framework.
What does it mean, risk assessment? They need to bring someone to do the audit, and he would. These are your vulnerabilities in it's like a security assessment.
Risk assessment means that you look at all the AI life cycle of your company, depending on the field that you're working in, and identifying which vulnerabilities your technology and your organization should face with. And it's important to understand that managing risks is not just, as I said, it's not just acknowledging the presence, but recognizing that these are complex risks, and utilizing technological solutions and consulting with experts in AI risk management can, I believe, provide significant help in addressing these challenges. Seeking assistance from professionals in this field, I think, would be effective with risk mitigation.
Do you feel that in general, some of the companies are reluctant to use AI because they feel that they don't have any control, they feel that the risks are too high, or they're saying, okay, we know there are risks, we'll try it out, and once we need it, we would start assessing the risks afterwards?
I've heard some of C-level asking and trying to figure out how to work with AI. In the meantime, saying to their employee, do not use that while working in the company. But you asked before about the risking AI, and I think that from a business perspective, the risking AI is not just preventing worst case scenarios, but it's about building sustainable, trustworthy systems that can drive long-term growth and innovation. And companies that prioritize, we see this in Humane AI all the time, but companies that prioritize AI safety and ethics are better positioned to avoid costly mistakes, and also to maintain customer trust, and after all of that, also to navigate complex regulatory landscape. This is from a business perspective.
Yeah, so it's like two different use cases. One is your company employees are using these technologies and they're utilizing the power of other products. And the second one is we are, as a company, building a product that involves AI or generative AI, and we want it to be safe for our customers, for our users, for whoever uses the system. And it's like two different aspects. I guess that there are much more people that the employees are using third-party products that involve AI than actually building AI products, I guess.
Yeah, because a company that uses AI, that includes also companies that are not tech companies, right? So it's a
Right.
really large market, large industry.
Yeah. And I think that in that case, in many of these companies who are not tech related, they don't even grasp the depth of risk, as I said. They just see like there's another tool that it's like an automatic solution to something and we're using it.
If they're using it, yeah. But many companies that are not tech companies, they're saying, we want to optimize business processes. We want to optimize business KPIs. And yes, and many of them are not aware of what that means in the deeper meaning of the consequences, also the unintended consequences when you adopt using AI tools and use AI tools.
Yeah, I think that most of the companies would either say it's there is a way to make our processes faster or cheaper, and let's use it. And if there is some kind of a problem, we'll handle it once it comes around, right? And
Yeah.
and the second thing that I think that comes to their mind is the fact that they have to, like, if they don't do it, they will be left behind, and their competitors would do it. And it's kind of obvious that there is this vast discussion of the power of AI, and you have to use it, and people find it very useful, and it makes their life much easier. But in general, I don't think that there is a deep discussion on the implications of this technology in general, not only the risk for a company or for a specific business.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean by implication? If not, if not,
like what would be the implications on the way we think, on the way we interact with technology, on the way on our jobs? What is the meaning that some of our processes would be outsourced to an AI system? Maybe some of the roles and positions. What is the meaning for how do we understand technology and truth in technology? What is truth if something could be easily manipulated or created by AI, so forth? So I think this discussion is very troubling when you think about it.
yeah, I agree with that.
Can you share some specific techniques of mitigating the bias, fairness, and ethical concerns in AI models?
Yeah, sure. So at Humane AI, we're developing AI Shield platform. It's designed to manage a wide range of AI risks, including bias, fairness, data privacy throughout the entire AI development process. And this platform ensures that the AI tools that a company adopts are responsible and trustworthy, and that it benefits the brand, the company, and its users, and also keeping operations smooth and secure. And to be more concrete, one of the cornerstones of our system is what we call a diversity-driven data management. We use advanced algorithms to analyze the training data sets, ensuring they're not just large, but truly representative of diverse population. And this goes beyond simple demographic balancing. We look at intersectionality and hidden biases that might not be immediately apparent. We've also developed a technique we call fairness embedded model architecture. This involves incorporating fairness constraints directly into the model objectives, because fairness is not just an afterthought. It's a fundamental aspect of how the models learn and make decisions. And we're also working on AI impact assessment tool. And this solution integrates real world feedback from diverse stakeholders and providing a comprehensive view of how the AI systems affect various communities and ensuring responsible and effective AI deployment. The core idea is that any company using AI systems, whether developed in-house or through third parties, including AI tools, including chatbots, for example, must understand and manage the associated risks to their business and customers. And we assist companies in managing these risks by identifying and mitigating them and ensuring optimal business operations and user protection.
Yeah. So let's go back to the data that you mentioned. Let's say that in some cases, I know, like let's say in some kind of medical problem that is, let's say that there is a medical problem that is more concerning for women, for example. So the data means that you have more women that has this like circumstances of a medical I know issue, right? So the data is biased because the current situation outside is biased. It doesn't matter if it's like engineers, which are mainly men, or nurses, which are mainly women, or I know medical problems that are occurring more in men or women. So the data is biased because the truth out there, the situation is biased. So how can you manage that? It's like that's you cannot invent or the data from outside. How do you do that?
Yeah, so if the tool is aiming to help women in a certain age, for example, then it is okay that the data it is not biased when the data is trained on women in a certain age, right? Because the tool is aiming to help those audience, right? But if your tool aims to give service to more like the whole population, let's say, if it's a tool for the whole population, then and you're training only on, and your data includes only people from universities, from the center of from big cities, etc., then that will become a problem because other people that are not in this data it will be biased against them. It does not represent them. So when we talk bias, we should think this tool is the target for this tool, and then we can decide if if the data is biased or not.
So I'm going with your example. Let's say that I need to develop a system that is for healthcare, for all of the US, and most of the data comes from big cities. What could be done? Because the data is missing, and I don't have data from rural areas or from people from a certain population.
Yeah, so you can receive the data from other sources as well, and you can create practices from this day and so on to receive this data. So the thing is that many companies are not aware of biases at all. So they have any strategies or practices to receive those data. But when you are aware that that your tool is being biased, and you can address it with there's many practices in order to receive more diverse data to train your model.
I see. And let's say that I did add the data and it's more or less diverse. The way that is the calculations, the algorithm is built on junctions of the decision, millions of them on the way. And as you said, it's a black box, right? We don't, if it's a third party in that case. So we're sending our data to Gemini or to OpenAI or to Claude, doesn't matter. And we get an answer. So how can we mitigate anything when we don't have any way to manage what's going on in this black box, right? So what needs to be done?
So I think what you're actually asking is how can we ensure that transparency and explainability, right? When we're building tools,
what can we do? Because it's a black box. We don't know anything about what is the origin for this decision and what could be done, because we're not going to go to Sam Altman and tell them, we need to do the scales and measurements a bit differently, right? So what could be done?
Yeah, so I'm going to answer about the issue that is called explainability. This is a big thing, and it's a challenge that we're very passionate about at Humane AI. So ensuring that transparency and explainability in AI systems, we believe it is crucial for building trust and for mitigating potential risks. This isn't just about technical solutions. It's more profound. It's about creating a framework that addresses the entire AI systems. So first, we need to start with the design phase when developing AI models. I'm going to answer about developing AI models, and some of the techniques includes also when buying other third-party tools. Okay, so we should prioritize interpretability wherever possible. And this means choosing algorithms and architectures that allow us to trace decision-making process. And for more complex systems where full interpretability isn't feasible, we need to implement robust explainability techniques. But explainability isn't just about the model itself. So we need to consider, we talked about data, we need to consider the entire data pipeline. And this means maintaining clear documentation, data sources, pre-processing steps, and any assumption made during model training. And also we should implement rigorous data governance practices to ensure data quality and to address potential biases. And next, we need to focus on the deployment phase. We need to design intuitive ways for users to interact with AI systems and to understand their outputs. This might involve creating, for example, dashboards that visualize decision factors or developing a plain language explanation for AI recommendations.
Yeah.
Ongoing monitoring and auditing are also essential. Risk communication is another crucial aspect. We need to be transparent about the capabilities and limitations of our AI systems. This includes clearly articulating the level of uncertainty in AI predictions and providing guidance on how to interpret and use AI output responsibly. And lastly, I believe also very important, we need to foster a culture of accountability. This means establishing clear lines of responsibility for AI decisions and creating mechanisms for redress when AI systems produce harmful or unfair outcomes.
Yeah. But what comes to my mind is, let's say I am a CEO who decided to build an AI system for my customers, for my internal team, whatever. And right now, I guess it involves efforts and resources, to build that. And in addition to that, I have this layer of creating this model with an explainability capability, which demands, of course, strategy of thinking about it and then implementing. What does it mean for a model to be explainable? What does it mean that each process or answer would be understood by someone who uses it and builds trust either with the end user or with someone who wants to check out what's going on with the system and do audits and all of that. But right now, the LLMs that are outside, and they're the biggest AI players, generative AI players out there, they don't have this capacity, right? Mm-hmm. So they're saying it's not enough that I need to build something that needs to somehow compete with these giants. You're saying now you need another layer, another effort, more resources to build something that they don't even have. So how do you answer to that?
When you build a chatbot, you mean when using a certain LLM, or we're building LLM?
No, building. I'm building a model. Let's say I'm a CEO in a company that is related to insurance, and I'm building a solution for my end customers. And it's lots of work to build a model. Let's say I'm building it from open source, and I'm building exactly and training exactly on my data and want it to be precise. And it needs to be explainable, which is an additional requirement for this product, right? So the standard right now, the models are not explainable, not really explainable, right? Mm-hmm. So he would say, why should I do it if they don't have it?
Yeah, I think that this question is you can ask this question regarding every aspect of responsible AI. You can ask it about being transparent, being robust, being secure. On the entire AI life cycle, not just the output and explainability. So, but as I said, I believe that companies that adopt a mindset of being responsible and understand that this is good business. This is not just being responsible as a value. This is also a great value, but also it creates great business opportunities. I believe eventually that when for example, you're a bank, and by the way, the EU AI Act forces some industry high risk industry to be explainable. If you're a bank and you're not giving a loan to a certain group or certain customer you have, and you do not know how to explain that decision that was based on algorithm. So you have to be explainable. That's what I mean. And I believe that eventually every company will understand that this is good business, being responsible. It's not just a requirement by the EU AI Act, for example.
Looking ahead, what are the most pressing challenges and opportunities for AI risk management in the future?
I can dive into the future of AI risk management. It's a rapidly evolving field with some fascinating challenges and opportunities. So first off, one of the most pressing challenges we're facing is the increasing complexity and autonomy of AI systems. These systems become more advanced. They're making decisions in ways that are harder for us to predict or to fully understand. And this black box problem, of course, is not new, but it's becoming more acute. We need to develop better tools for explainability, especially for deep learning models. Another major challenge is the speed of AI development. The field is moving so fast that our risk management practices are often playing catch up, and we're seeing new capabilities emerge almost daily. And each one of those tools bring its own set of potential risks. So staying ahead of this curve is going to be crucial. We're also grappling with the challenge of AI bias and fairness as AI systems are deployed in more sensitive areas like hiring, criminal justice, lending. Ensuring they don't perpetuate or exacerbate existing societal biases is critical. And this isn't just a technical problem, it's a socio-technical one that requires interdisciplinary approaches. Now, let's talk about some opportunities as well. One of the most exciting is the potential for AI to actually help us with risk management and risk mitigation. We're seeing promising developments in using AI for threat detection, fraud prevention, and so on. So AI could potentially identify risks that a human might miss. And looking ahead, I think that one of the biggest challenges that I identify and also opportunity will be managing the risks associated with more general AI systems. We move forward. We move towards AI that can perform a wider range of tasks. This has both positive and negative impacts, but the impacts become more profound. We'll need to develop new frameworks for assessing and managing these risks. And we're also likely to see increasing regulatory attention on AI. This presents challenges in terms of compliance, but it also gives us great opportunity to create clearer guidelines and expectations for responsible AI development. And lastly, I think we'll see a growing emphasis on global cooperation, AI risk management. Many of these risks associated with AI, like privacy concerns or potential for misuse, they don't respect national boundaries. So we'll need to work together on an international level to address these challenges effectively. So it's an exciting field to be in, and what we do in AI risk management today will shape how this transformative technology impacts our world in the years to come.
Do you think it's mainly coming from regulations or like from top down, or you think it's something that everybody knows bottom up, that there is a problem and we need to face it?
I think you know the answer to that.
Regulations.
Without regulation, I don't think anything would move towards, because like the big tech, the giants, I think they're not implementing responsible AI practices too fast, if I can say that this way.
I had Hofit in my previous chapter, and we talked about how sure or how much do we trust the regulatory system to be even a bit as fast as the technological advancement. And I was the one to say that I don't really trust them that much, and she was much more optimistic than I am. So I'm asking you, Limor, what do you think?
What do you think about?
So would your regulation would catch up with technology at a certain time, or there is no way?
Okay, it's a good thing that there is a regulation, okay, because it gives us like this, it should give us the standards on what is responsible AI and how to implement it correctly. And also somebody will have to force it, right? There's a law, somebody has to force it. But again, the AI development is so fast and it's growing so rapidly. So this is a big question. I'm not sure I have the answer for it. It's a big question.
Yeah.
And I guess in the near 2 years, we will find out.
Yeah. So what's your number one tip for entrepreneurs today?
I'd say integrate AI risk management into your business model from day one. It's not just the right thing to do. It's also good business. Companies that prioritize responsible AI development will be better positioned to build user trust and navigate the complex regulatory landscape ahead.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Limor. Where could people contact you and hear more about Humane AI?
People can visit our website at Humane AI and follow us on social media channels. You can also reach me directly at limorziv.com. I'll be happy to hear any thoughts you might have and answer any questions. So feel free to contact me. And thank you, Eddie, for inviting me.
Thank you, Limor. It's been fascinating and I learned a lot. And I hope that our roads will cross again in the future and we'll do something together. Thank you. Have a great day. See ya.
Thank you, Eddie.
Bye-bye.